How is everybody doing? Nomad here. In today's video, I wanted to showcase some building tips and tricks that I hope will help you along the way. Now, with spending over 60 hours just building, I've learned a few things along the way that have helped not only make my builds a lot easier, but find workarounds for things. I hope there's something in this video that'll help you out. First of all, I'm going to tell you guys straight away, building is not that complicated. Some of these tips are not going to be that complicated or that advanced because in the end, to me, I think the building system in this game is absolutely fantastic. It's not that complicated as long as you keep some core things in during your builds. First and foremost, when you think of a build in this game or just in general, I like to think it in terms of structural integrity is very important when it comes to building. And that's exactly how this game is. I also want to think of the game in terms of blocks. Blocks meaning one log wide. That's what I mean when I talk about block system. That's how I like to think of the build. One of the main things I want to tell you guys straight away when you're building is don't be afraid to put a post on every single space of a build like this. Reason being, you may be like, this is going to waste a bunch of logs, but at the end of the day, it's going to help with your structural integrity, not only for when you start building a roof, whether it's a second floor, a roof, or when you start working on the interior of the house. It'll give you more attachment points when you're doing the interior, whether you want to do a staircase, whether you want to do a ledge, a balcony, whatever it may be, or even a bed. I figured out that there's a way to do a bed as long as there's posts. But if you don't have these posts in and you're just placing logs down like this, then the structural integrity of your build is not going to be as strong as it should be, and you will run into problems later on when building your second. The posts are very important. Yes, it may take a lot of logs if you're putting posts on every corner. Now, I'm not saying interior corners. I'm talking about exterior when it comes to framing and the structural integrity. Next off, I want to talk about stairs. When you're building stairs, you may want to be able to put a post here, but it won't let you. It's going to make you do this. And you're like, why can't I do a post there? Why is it doing that? I don't know. Another thing about this game, the building mechanic allows you to do just about anything. The only weird thing about it is it's kind of finicky in terms of it's gonna want you to do things in a specific order. For instance, I wasn't able to put a post there, but now if I have all my stairs attached to the structure, it will allow you to then put a post down. As you could see, now I'm able to put a post. I know this is super simple, but before you're not able to put a post unless your stairs are in. Now, if you need to, you can then remove your stairs and you can continue your build, or you can just leave your stairs on there. It's up to you the way you want to build. Another thing that I think is very important when it comes to building, and it is an aspect that I use on every single one of my builds. Again, this is going to take a lot more logs. When building something, it can be important and it can be workable if you put an exterior strut system connected to your build. What I mean by that is, say this is the edge of my house right here, and for some odd reason I cannot build any higher because structurally it won't let me. What you want to do is put an attachment point, and it doesn't need to be connected like that. And what you're going to want to do is then now make a strut system on the exterior home. A lot of this is used for especially when you want to destroy some of your base and you can't destroy it. It's like telling you, why can't I destroy that? Why can't I take this log down? Most of the time it's because there's something else on top of it that is not getting supported enough. If you do an exterior strut system, then you can be able to remove what you're trying to remove and then continue on from there. It can be a little complicated, but like I said at the beginning of the video, the biggest point when it comes to building in Sons of the Forest is structural integrity. And yes, some of it can be finicky. Some of it you may be like, why can't I do that? I was able to do it before, but now I can't. You will be able to do it. Sometimes you just have to do things in a very specific order. Now, when I think of the building system in this game, the most important thing is structural integrity. That meaning struts. Struts are going to be your best friend. You may think that you're placing too many, but you can never place enough because at the end of the day, once the build is fully constructed, say you're doing a 2-story, 3-story, 4-story build, or a high roof, or a wide staircase that's elevated, you want it to look like it's floating, struts are going to be your best friend. And then what you're going to want to do is, after the build is fully constructed, it'll have enough structural integrity for you to be able to start removing those struts. They just need to be present during the building process. They don't need to be there the whole time. The way the building in this game works, the building basically needs support before the building exists. That's how it is in real life. When you're taking out a wall, you want to put a fake wall in, like I was talking about. You want to do a fake strut system on the exterior of your build to support things. Then do your build, and then you can tear this stuff down and start removing things, and the building itself will give it self-structural integrity. I hope that made sense. Not sure if it did. Another thing that's very simple, but I do like to make a point of it because I do this with most of my builds. Plan ahead. If you want to have a spire or a spine on your roof, if you want to have an angled roof, your build needs to be an even number width-wise. If it's not an even number width-wise, you're not going to be able to have this triangle space here. The beautiful thing is, too, they recently fixed the apex when it comes to building, where now we'll be able to fill in all these gaps, which is absolutely cool. It doesn't work in all instances, but for the most part it works. So now the apex. But if you want a triangle house, if you want a spined roof, go in even numbers. Think of the width of your build being an even number, whether that's 2, 4, 6, 10, 4, whatever it may be, so on and so forth. You want to do even numbers. If you don't do that, you're going to have a flat part to your roof. And maybe you want to go for that look. I don't know. Some builds I've done, I've gone for that look and it's totally fine. But if you want this alpine style look with the arch roof with a high ridge, I highly recommend you do an even number. Now, if you ever want to do curved roof, what you want to do is start with an odd number. So for instance, this is 3 wide and you're going to start like you're going to do a standard peak. What you're going to do is you're going to chop the 2 center posts down a little bit. And if you look, you start getting this curve. It almost looks like a hanger. This is how you would do a hanger style build. Now, you can do this on any scale. You can go bigger. Just take the same concept and expand it higher. But remember, if you want to do a build like this, it has to be an odd number. So 3 spaces wide, not the 4. The 4 will get you the peak. I think this is a pretty cool look. And then what you can also do is, you know, if you strut it, start removing this. And now you have almost like an overhang thing, which is super cool. You don't even need the strut there, to be honest with you. Have it open like that. Could be a nice entryway to something. Could just be a simple archway. Not too bad, not too bad, you know what I mean? Another simple tip I recommend, instead of picking up 2 logs and splitting them on your shoulder and putting them down, it may not seem like a big deal, but have a pile of logs on the ground. Split them all prior to picking them up. Reason being, the animation timing when it comes to splitting logs is a lot slower than if you just had 4 planks in your hand. Now, it may not seem like a big deal, but at the end of the day, timing-wise, it is a lot quicker by just placing them like this. And then you just have a pile of planks, rather than having to go up, pick up a log, and place it. When you have planks in your hand, it is a lot faster just to build in general. I know that's super simple, but that's something that I learned. Part of my building process now. Now, again, guys, a lot of these tips are not going to be too crazy in advance, because at the end of the day, building is not that complicated in this game. You just have to find workarounds to things. And there are going to be times where, like, why was I able to do this here, but now I'm working on a different part of the build and I'm not able to do it now? It's because you're doing something in the wrong order. I know that sounds weird, but a lot of the building mechanics in this game, you have to do them in a specific order, or for some reason, it'll get very finicky and it will not allow you to place certain things. And you'll get upset. You'll get like, why can't I do this? If you do things in a very specific order, you will be able to basically build anything. There's so much that I've learned so far with building, and I'm learning more and more along the way. Now, guys, I know these are super simple tips and tricks. They're not really, you know, trick number 1, tip number 2. It's just a general overview of all building and what I think about. My 2 cents is after doing 60 plus hours of building. If any of this helped you out, or if you have any questions about building or anything Sons of the Force, that is what this channel is about. I appreciate you guys. I hope something in this video helps you out. If you haven't already, check out some of my builds. I have a massive build on its way coming soon. We just dropped a build today. I appreciate every single one of you guys. And as always, stay happy, stay hyped, and have a beautiful day.